The Book of Job, the Holy Bible, easy to read version. Chapter 29. Job continued to speak. I wish my life could be the same as it was a few months ago, when God watched over me and cared for me. God's light shined above me, so I could walk through the darkness. I wish for the days when I was successful, when I enjoyed God's friendship and blessing in my home. God, all-powerful, was still with me then, and my children were all around me. Life was so good that I washed my feet in cream and had plenty of the finest oils. Those were the days when I went to the city gate and sat in the public meeting of the elders. When the young men saw me coming, they stepped out of my way, and the old men stood up to show that they respected me. The leaders of the people stopped talking and put their hands over their mouths. Even the most important leaders were quiet, as if their tongues were stuck to the roof of their mouths. All who heard me said good things about me. Those who saw what I did praised me, because I helped the poor when they cried out. I helped the orphans who had no one to care for them. People who were dying asked God to bless me. My help brought joy to widows in need. Right living was my clothing. Fairness was my robe and turban. I was like eyes for the blind, like feet for the crippled. I was like a father to the poor. I helped people I didn't even know win their case in court. I stopped evil people from abusing their power and saved innocent people from them. I always thought I would live a long life, growing old with my family around me. I was like a healthy plant with roots that have plenty of water and branches that are wet with dew. I thought each new day would bring more honor and be full of new possibilities. In the past, people listened to me. They waited quietly for my advice. When I finished speaking, they had nothing more to say. My words fell gently on their ears. They waited for my words as they would for rain. They drank them in like rain in the springtime. I smiled at them, and they could hardly believe it. My smile made them feel better. I was their leader and made decisions about their future. I was like a king among his troops, comforting those who were sad. But now, men younger than I make fun of me. Men whose fathers were too worthless to put with my sheepdogs. Their fathers are still too weak to be of any use to me. All their strength is gone. They are starving with nothing to eat, so they chew on the dry, ruined land. They pull up salt plants in the desert and eat the roots from the broom tree. They are forced away from other people, who shout at them as if they were thieves. They must live in the dry riverbeds, hillside caves, and holes in the ground. They howl in the bushes and huddle together under thorn bushes. They are a bunch of worthless people without names, who were forced to leave their country. Now their sons sing songs to make fun of me. My name has become a bad word to them. They hate me and stay far away from me, except when they come to spit in my face. God has taken the string from my bow and made me weak, so they feel free to do whatever they want to me. They attack me on my right side. They knock my feet out from under me. They build ramps to attack and destroy me like a city. They guard the road so that I cannot escape. They succeed in destroying me. Without help from anyone, they break a hole in the wall and come rushing through it, and the crashing rocks fall on me. I am shaking with fear. They chased my honor away like dust in the wind. My safety disappears like a cloud. Now my life is almost gone, and soon I will die. Days of suffering have grabbed me. All my bones ache at night. Pain never stops chewing on me. God grabbed the collar of my coat and twisted my clothes out of shape. He threw me in the mud, and I became like dust and ashes. God, I cry out to you for help, but you don't answer. I stand up and pray, but you don't pay attention to me. You have become cruel to me. You use your power to hurt me. You let the strong wind blow me away. You throw me around in the storm. I know you will lead me to my death, to that place where all the living must go. Surely, no one would attack a man who is already ruined when he is hurt and crying for help. God, you know that I cried for those who were in trouble. You know that I mourned for the poor. But when I hoped for good, trouble came instead. When I looked for light, darkness came. I constantly feel upset, and my suffering has only just begun. I am always sad and depressed, without any relief. I stand up in the public meeting and cry for help, making sad sounds like a wild dog, like the ostriches in the desert. My skin is burned and peeling away. My body is hot with fever. My harp is tuned to play songs of sorrow. My flute makes sad sounds like someone crying. I made an agreement with my eyes not to look at a young woman in a way that would make me want her. What does God above have for us? How does God all-powerful repay people from his home high in heaven? He sends trouble to the wicked and disaster to those who do wrong. God is the one who knows what I do and sees every step I take. I have not lied to anyone. I never tried to cheat people. If God would use accurate scales, he would know that I am innocent. If I ever stepped off the right path, if my eyes led my heart to do evil, or if my hands are dirty with sin, then let others eat what I planted. Let my crops be pulled up by the roots. If I have desired another woman or waited at my neighbor's door to sin with his wife, then let my wife serve someone else, and let other men sleep with her. To do such a thing would be shameful, a sin that must be punished. Such sin is like a fire that burns until it destroys everything. It would completely ruin my life's work. If I refuse to be fair to my slaves when they had a complaint against me, then what will I do when I must face God? What will I say when he asks me to explain what I did? The one who made me in my mother's womb also made them. God shaped us all inside of our mothers. I have never refused to help the poor. I always gave widows what they needed. I have never been selfish with my food. I shared what I had with orphans. All my life, I've been like a father to orphans and have taken care of widows. Whenever I found people suffering because they didn't have clothes or saw a poor man with no coat, I always gave them something to wear. I used the wool from my own sheep to make them warm, and they thanked me with all their heart. I never threatened an orphan, even when I knew I had support in court. If I ever did that, may my arm be pulled from its socket and fall from my shoulder. But I didn't do any of these bad things. I fear God's punishment too much. His majesty scares me. I've never trusted in riches. I never said even to pure gold, you are my hope. I have been wealthy, but that didn't make me proud. I earned a lot of money, but that is not what made me happy. I have never worshipped the bright sun or the beautiful moon. I was never foolish enough to worship the sun and the moon. This is also a sin that must be punished. If I had worshipped them, I would have been unfaithful to God all-powerful. I have never been happy when my enemies were destroyed. I have never laughed at my enemies when bad things happened to them. I have never let my mouth sin by cursing my enemies and wishing for them to die. The people in my house know that I have never let anyone go hungry. I always invited strangers into my home so that they would not have to sleep in the streets. I have not tried to hide my sin as some people do. I have never hidden my guilt. I was never so afraid of what people might say or of making enemies that my sins secret and avoided going out. How I wish someone would listen to me. I will sign my name to all I have said. Now let God all-powerful answer me. Let him make a list of what he thinks I did wrong. I would wear it around my neck. I would put it on my head like a crown. Then I could explain everything I have done. I could come to God with my head held high like a prince. I did not use my land in the wrong way. I never caused it to suffer. I always paid the workers for the food I got from the land. I never let any of them starve. If I ever did any of these bad things, let thorns and weeds grow in my field instead of wheat and barley. Job's words were finished. Then Job's 3 friends gave up trying to answer him, because he was so sure he was innocent. But there was a young man named Elihu, son of Bacharel. He was a descendant of a man named Buz. Elihu was from the family of Ram. He became very angry because Job kept saying he was innocent, that he was right and God was wrong. Elihu was also angry with Job's 3 friends because they could not answer him, and yet they still considered him guilty of doing wrong. Elihu was the youngest one there, so he had waited until everyone finished talking. But when he saw that Job's 3 friends had nothing more to say, his anger forced him to speak. So here's what Elihu, son of Bacharel and Buzite, said. I am only a young man, and you are all older. That is why I was afraid to tell you what I think. I thought to myself, older people should speak first. They have lived many years, so they have learned many things. But it is the spirit in people, the breath from God all-powerful, that makes them understand. Old men are not the only wise people. They are not the only ones who understand what is right. So please listen to me, and I will tell you what I think. I waited patiently while you men talked. I listened to the answers you gave as you searched for the right words. I listened carefully to what you said. Not one of you proved Job wrong. Not one of you answered his arguments. You men cannot say that you have found wisdom. The answer to Job's arguments must come from God, not people. Job was arguing with you, not me, so I will not use your arguments to answer him. Job, these men lost the argument. They don't have anything more to say. They don't have any more answers. I waited for them to answer you, but now they are quiet. They stand there with nothing more to say. So now I will give you my answer. Yes, I will tell you what I think. I have so much to say that I cannot hold it in. I feel like a jar of wine that has never been opened. I am like a new wineskin ready to burst. So I must speak so that I will feel better. I must answer your arguments. I will treat you the same as I would treat anyone else. I will not praise you to win your favor. I cannot treat one person better than another. If I did, God my Maker would punish me. Now, Job, listen to me. Listen carefully to what I say. I am ready to speak. My heart is honest, so my words are sincere. I will speak the truth about what I know. God's Spirit made me. My life comes from God, all-powerful. Listen to me and answer if you can. Get your arguments ready to face me. You and I are the same before God. He used clay to make us both. Don't be afraid of me. I will not be hard on you. But Job, I heard what you said. These were your very words. I am pure and innocent. I did nothing wrong. I am not guilty. But God found an excuse to attack me. He treats me like an enemy. He puts chains on my feet and watches everything I do. But you are wrong about this, and I will prove it to you. God knows more than any of us. You are arguing with God. Why do you think he should explain everything to you? But maybe God does explain what he does, but speaks in ways that people don't understand. He may speak in a dream or in a vision at night when people are in a deep sleep lying in their beds. He may whisper something in their ear, and they are frightened when they hear his warnings. God warns people to stop them from doing wrong and to keep them from becoming proud. He does this to save them from death. He wants to keep them from being destroyed. Or those who are sick in bed might be suffering punishment from God. The pain that makes their bones ache might be a warning from him. They feel so bad they cannot eat. Even the best food makes them sick. Their bodies might waste away until they become thin, and all their bones stick out. They might be close to death, their lives about to end. But maybe one of God's thousands of angels is watching over them, to speak for them and tell about the good things they have done. Maybe the angel will be kind and say to God, "Save this one from the place of death. I have found a way to pay for his life." Then that person's body will become young and strong again. He will be as he was when he was young. He will pray and God will answer. He will worship God and shout with joy. He will again stand as right before God. He will tell everyone, "I sinned. I changed good into bad, but God didn't give me the punishment I deserved. God saved me from going down to the place of death. Now I can enjoy life again." God does all these things for people again and again. He wants them to be saved from death so that they can enjoy life. Job, pay attention and listen to me. Be quiet and let me talk. But if you have an answer, go ahead and speak. Tell me your argument. I would be happy to know that you are innocent. But if you have nothing to say, then listen to me. Be quiet, and I will teach you wisdom. Then Elihu continued his speech. "Listen to what I say, you wise men. Pay attention. you who know so much. Your tongue tastes the food it touches. Your ear tests the words it hears. So let us test these arguments and decide for ourselves what is right. Together we will learn what is good. Job says, I am innocent, and God is not being fair to me. I am right, but I am judged to be a liar. I have done no wrong, but I am badly hurt. Would anyone but Job say such things? He has more thirst for insulting God than for water. He is a friend of evil people. He likes to spend time with the wicked. I know this because he says, you will gain nothing if you try to please God. You men can understand, so listen to me. God would never do what is evil. God, all-powerful, would never do wrong. He pays us back for what we have done. He gives us what we deserve. The truth is that God does no wrong. God, all-powerful, is always fair. No one chose God to be in charge of the earth. No one gave him responsibility for the whole world. If God decided to take away his spirit and the breath of life he gave us, then everything on earth would die. We would all become dust again. If you, men, are wise, you will listen to what I say. Can someone be a ruler if he hates justice? Job, God is not only powerful, but he is fair. Do you think you can judge him guilty? God is the one who says to kings, you are worthless. He says to leaders, you are evil. He does not respect leaders more than other people, and he does not respect the rich more than the poor. God made everyone. Any of us can die suddenly in the middle of the night. Anyone can get sick and pass away. Even powerful people die for no reason we can see. God watches what people do. He sees every step they take. There is no place dark enough for evil people to hide from God. God does not need to set a time for people to come before him and be judged. He does not have to ask questions when people do wrong, even if they are powerful leaders. He simply destroys them and chooses others to take their place. When he learns what people have done, he defeats them, and overnight they are gone. He will punish them for the evil they have done, and he will do it where everyone can see. He will do this because they rebelled against him and ignored what he wanted. They hurt the poor and made them cry to God for help. And he hears their cry. But if God decides not to help them, no one can judge him guilty. If he hides himself, no one can find him. He is the ruler over every person and nation. He keeps the wicked from ruling so that they will not bring harm to the people. A person should say to God, I am guilty. I will not sin anymore. Show me the sins I am not able to see. If I have done wrong, I will not do it again. Job, you want God to reward you, but you refuse to change. It is your decision, not mine. Tell me what you think. A wise person would listen to me. A wise person would say, Job talks like an ignorant person. What he says doesn't make sense. I think Job should be punished even more, because he answers us like someone who is evil. He adds rebellion to his other sins. He sits there insulting us and arguing with God. Elihu continued talking and said, Job, it is not fair for you to say, I am more right than God, because you also ask him, what's the use of trying to please you? What good will it do me if I don't sin? Job, I want to answer you and your friends here with you. Look up at the sky. Look at the clouds, which are so much higher than you. If you sin, it does not hurt God. Even if your sins are too many to count, that does nothing to God. And if you are good, that does not help God. He gets nothing from you. Job, the good and bad things you do affect only other people like yourself. If people are being hurt, they cry out and beg for protection from those who hurt them, but they forget to say, "Where is God, the one who made me?" He is the one who gives us songs to sing in the night. He is the one who makes us smarter than any animal on earth and wiser than any bird. Or if evil people ask God for help, He will not answer them because they are too proud. God will not listen to their worthless begging. God, all-powerful, will not pay attention to them. So Job, God will not listen to you when you say that you don't see Him. You say you are waiting for your chance to meet with Him and prove that you are innocent. Job thinks that God does not punish evil and that He pays no attention to sin. So he continues his worthless talking. Everything he has said shows he does not know what he is talking about. Elihu continued talking and said, "Be patient with me a little longer. God has a few more words that He wants me to say. I will share my knowledge with everyone. I will prove that my Maker is right. Job, I am telling the truth. I know what I am talking about. God is very powerful, but He does not hate people. He is very powerful, but He is also very wise. He will not let evil people live. He brings justice to the poor. He watches over those who live right. He lets them rule in high places. So if people are punished, if they are tied with chains and ropes, they did something wrong, and God will tell them what they did, that they sinned and they were proud. He will force them to listen to His warning. He will condemn them to stop sinning. He will command them to stop sinning. If they serve and obey Him, He will make them successful, and they will live a happy life. But if they refuse to obey Him, they will be destroyed. They will die like fools. People who don't care about God are always bitter. Even when He punishes them, they refuse to pray to Him for help. They will die while they are still young, like the male prostitutes. God saves those who suffer by using their suffering. He uses their trouble to speak in a way that makes them listen. In fact, God wants to help you out of your troubles. He wants to take away your burdens that are crushing you. He wants to load your table with plenty of food. But you are full of this talk about guilt, judgment, and justice. Job, don't let your anger fill you with doubt about God, and don't let the price of your forgiveness turn you away. Do you think your wealth will keep you out of trouble? Will your great strength be of any help to you now? Don't be like those who wish darkness would come and hide them. They try to disappear into the night. Job, don't let your suffering cause you to choose evil. Be careful not to do wrong. Look, God's power makes Him great. He is the greatest teacher of all. No one can tell Him what to do. No one can say, "God, you have done wrong." Remember to praise Him for what He has done, as many others have done in song. Everyone can see what He has done, even people in faraway countries. Yes, God is great, but we cannot understand his greatness. We don't know how long he has lived. God takes up water from the earth and changes it into mist and rain, so the clouds pour out the water, and the rain falls on many people. No one can understand how he spreads the clouds out, or how the thunder rumbles from his home in the sky. Look, he spreads lightning all over the sky and covers the deepest parts of the ocean. He uses them to control the nations, and he gives them plenty of food. He grabs the lightning with his hands and commands it to strike where he wants. The thunder warns that a storm is coming, so even the cattle know that it is near. The thunder and lightning frighten me. My heart pounds in my chest. Listen to God's thundering voice. Listen to the sound coming from his mouth. He sends his lightning to flash across the whole sky. It lights up the earth from one end to the other. After the flashes of lightning, you can hear his roaring voice. His thunders with wonderful voice. And while his voice thunders, the lightning flashes continue. God's thundering voice is amazing. He does great things that we cannot understand. He says to the snow, fall on the earth. And he says to the rain, pour down on the earth. God does this to stop everyone's work and to show the people he made what he can do. The animals run into their dens and stay there. Whirlwinds come from the south. The cold winds come from the north. God's breath makes ice and freezes even large bodies of water. He fills the clouds with water and scatters his lightning throughout them. He orders the clouds to be blown all around the earth. The clouds do whatever he commands. He causes the clouds to punish people with floods, or to water the earth and show his love. Job, stop for a minute and listen. Think about the wonderful things God does. Do you know how God controls the clouds? Do you know how he makes his lightning flash? Do you know how the clouds hang in the sky? This is just one of the amazing works of the one who knows everything. All you know is that you sweat, your clothes stick to you, and all is still and quiet when the heat wave comes from the south. Can you help God spread out the sky and make it shine like a polished brass? Job, tell us what we should say to God. We cannot think of what to say because of our ignorance. I would not tell God that I wanted to talk to him. That would be like asking to be destroyed. A person cannot look at the sun. It is too bright as it shines in the sky after the wind blows the clouds away. In the same way, God's golden glory shines from the holy mountain. He is surrounded by the brightness of the light. We have seen that God, all-powerful, really is all-powerful. But he is just and never treats anyone unfairly. That is why people fear and respect him. He shows no respect for those who think they are wise. Then the Lord spoke to Job from a whirlwind and said, "Who is this ignorant person saying these foolish things? Prepare yourself for an attack. Get ready to answer the questions that I will ask you. Where were you when I made the earth? If you are so smart, answer me. And who decided how big the earth should be? Who measured it with a measuring line? What is the earth resting on? Who put the first stone in its place when the morning stars sang together and the angels shouted with joy? Who closed the floodgates as the sea gushed from the womb? Who covered it with clouds and wrapped it in darkness? I set the limits for the sea and put it behind locked gates. I said to the sea, you can come this far but no farther. This is where your proud waves will stop. Did you ever in your life command the morning to begin or the day to dawn? Did you ever tell the morning light to grab the earth and shake those who are evil out of their hiding place? The morning light makes the hills and valleys easy to see. When the daylight comes to the earth, the shapes of these places stand out like the folds of a coat. They take shape like soft clay that is pressed with a stamp. Evil people don't like the daylight. When it shines bright, it keeps them from doing the bad things that they do. Have you ever gone to the deepest parts of the sea? Have you ever walked on the ocean bottom? Has anyone shown you the gates to the world of the dead? Have you ever seen those gates that lead to the dark place of death? Do you really understand how big the earth is? Tell me if you know all this. Where does light come from? Where does darkness come from? Can you take them back to where they belong? Do you know how to get there? Surely you know these things, since you are so old and wise. You were alive when I made them, weren't you? Have you ever gone into the storerooms where I keep the snow and hail? I save them there for times of trouble, for the times of war and battle. Have you ever gone to the place where the sun comes up, where it makes the east wind blow all over the earth? Who dug ditches in the sky for the heavy rain? Who made a path for the thunderstorm? Who makes it rain even in the desert places where no one lives? The rain gives that empty, dry land all the water it needs. The grass begins to grow. Does the rain have a father? Who produces the drops of dew? Does ice have a mother? Who gives birth to the frost? That's when the water freezes as hard as a rock. Even the deep sea freezes over. Can you tie up the Pleiades? Can you unfasten the belt of Orion? Can you bring out the other constellations at the right times? Can you lead out the bear with its cubs? Do you know the laws that control the sky? Can you put each star in its place above the earth? Can you shout at the clouds and command them to cover you with rain? Can you give command to the lightning? Will it come to you and say, "Here we are. What do you want, sir?" Will it go wherever you want it to go? Who makes people wise? Who puts wisdom deep inside them? Who is wise enough to count the clouds and tip them over to pour out their rain? The rain makes the dust become mud and the clumps of dirt stick together. Do you find food for the lions? Do you feed their hungry babies? No. They hide in their caves or wait in the grass, ready to attack their prey. Who feeds the ravens when their babies cry out to God and wander around without food? Do you know when the mountain goats are born? Do you watch when the mother deer gives birth? Do you know how many months they must carry their babies? Do you know when it is the right time for them to be born? These animals lie down They feel their birth pains, and their babies are born. Their babies grow strong out in the wild. Then they leave their mothers and never come back. Who let the wild donkeys go free? Who untied their ropes and let them loose? I let the wild donkeys have the desert for a home. I gave the salt lands to them for a place to live. They are happy to be away from the noise of the city. They never have to listen to their drivers shouting at them. They live in the mountains. That is their pasture. That is where they look for food to eat. Will a wild bull agree to serve you? Will he stay in your barn at night? Will he let you put ropes on him to plow your fields? A wild bull is very strong, but can you trust him to do your work? Can you trust him to gather your grain and bring it to your threshing place? An ostrich gets excited and flaps its wings, but it cannot fly. Its wings and feathers are not like the wings of a stork. An ostrich lays her eggs on the ground and lets the sand keep them warm. The ostrich forgets that someone might step on her eggs, or that a wild animal might break them. An ostrich leaves her little babies. She treats them as if they were not her own. If her babies die, she does not care that all her work was for nothing. That's because I did not give wisdom to the ostrich. She's foolish, and I made her that way. But when the ostrich gets up to run, she laughs at the horse and its rider because she can run faster than any horse. Did you give the horse its strength? Did you put the mane on its neck? Did you make it able to jump like a locust or snort so loudly that it scares people? A horse is happy to be so strong. It scratches the ground with its foot and runs into battle. It laughs at fear. Nothing makes it afraid. It does not run away from battle. The soldier's quiver shakes on the horse's side. The spear and weapons its riders carry shine in the sun. The horse gets very excited and races over the ground. When it hears the trumpet blow, it cannot stand still. When the trumpet sounds, it snorts, "Hooray!" It can smell the battle from far away and hear the shouts of commanders with all the other sounds of battle. Did you teach the hawk how to spread its wing and fly south? Are you the one who told the eagle to fly high in the sky? Did you tell it to build its nest high in the mountains? It lives high on a peak at the top of a cliff. That is its fortress. From there it looks far into the distance, searching for its food. The eagles gather around dead bodies, and their young eat the blood. Then the Lord said to Job, "You wanted to argue with God, all-powerful. You wanted to correct me and prove me that I was wrong, so give me your answer." Then Job answered the Lord, "I am not worthy to speak. What can I say to you? I cannot answer you. I will put my hand over my mouth. I spoke once, but I will not speak again. I spoke twice, but I will not say anything more." Then the Lord spoke to Job again from the storm. "Brace yourself and get ready to answer the questions I will ask you. Are you trying to show that I am unfair? Are you trying to look innocent by saying I am guilty? Are your arms as strong as mine? Do you have a voice like mine that is as loud as thunder? If so, you can be proud and wear glory and honor like clothes. If you are as powerful as God, then show your anger. Punish those who are proud and humble them. Yes, just look at the proud and make them humble. Crush those evil people where they stand. Bury them all in the dirt. Wrap their bodies up and put them in their graves. If you can do any of these things, then I will praise you, and I will admit that you can save yourself by your own power. Look at the behemoth. I made the behemoth, and I made you. He eats grass like a cow, but he has great strength in his body. The muscles in his stomach are powerful. His tail stands strong like a cedar tree. His leg muscles are very strong. His bones are as strong as bronze. His legs are like iron bars. The behemoth is the most amazing animal I made, but I can defeat him. He eats the grass that grows on the hills, where the wild animals play. He lies under the lotus plants. He hides among the reeds of the swamp. The lotus plants hide him in their shade. He lives under the willow tree that grows near the river. If the river floods, the behemoth will not run away. He's not afraid of the Jordan River if it splashes on his face. No one can blind his eyes and capture him. No one can catch him in a trap. Can you catch Leviathan with a fishhook? Can you tie his tongue with a rope? Can you put a rope through his nose or a hook through his jaw? Will he beg you to let him go free? Will he speak to you with gentle words? Will he make an agreement with you and promise to serve you forever? Will you play with Leviathan as you would play with a bird? Will you put a rope on him so that your girls can play with him? Will fishermen try to buy him from you? Will they cut him into pieces and sell him to the merchants? Can you throw spears into his skin or into his head? If you ever lay a hand on Leviathan, you will never do it again. Just think about the battle that would be. Do you think you can defeat him? Well, forget it. There is no hope. Just looking at him will scare you. No one is brave enough to wake him up and make him angry. Well, no one can challenge me either. I owe nothing to anyone. Everything under heaven belongs to me. I will tell you about Leviathan's legs, his strength and his graceful shape. No one can pierce his skin. It is like armor. No one can force him to open his jaw. The teeth in his mouth scare people. His back has rows of shields tightly sealed together. They are so close to each other that no air can pass through them. The shields are joined to each other. They hold together so tightly they cannot be pulled apart. When Leviathan sneezes, it is like lightning flashing out. His eyes shine like the light on dawn. Burning torches come from his mouth. Sparks of fire shoot out. Smoke pours from his nose like burning weeds under a boiling pot. His breath sets coals on fire, and flames shoot from his mouth. His neck is very powerful. People are afraid and run away from him. There is no soft spot in his skin. It is as hard as iron. His heart is like a rock. He has no fear. It is as hard as millstone. When he gets up, even the strongest people are afraid. They run away when he swings his tail. Swords, spears, and darts only bounce off when they hit him. These weapons don't hurt him at all. He breaks iron as easily as straw. He breaks bronze like rotten wood. Arrows don't make him run away. Rocks thrown at him seem as light as chaff. When a wood club hits him, it feels to him like a piece of straw. He laughs when anyone throws a spear at him. The skin on his belly is like sharp pieces of broken pottery. He leaves tracks in the mud like a threshing board. He stirs up the water like a boiling pot. He makes it bubble like a pot of boiling oil. When he swims, He leaves a sparkling path behind him. He stirs up the water, and he makes it white with foam. No animal on earth is like him. He is an animal made without fear. He looks down on the proudest of creatures. He is king over all the children of pride. Then Job answered the Lord, I know you can do everything. You make plans and nothing can change or stop them. You asked, who is this ignorant person saying these foolish things? I talked about things I did not understand. I talked about things too amazing for me to know. You said to me, listen and I will speak. I will ask you questions and you will answer me. In the past I heard about you, but now I have seen you with my own eyes and I am ashamed of myself. I am so sorry. As I sit in the dust and ashes, I promise to change my heart and my life. After the Lord finished talking to Job, he spoke to Eliphaz from Teman, and he said, I am angry with you and your two friends because you did not tell the truth about me, as my servant Job did. So now, Eliphaz, get 7 bulls and 7 rams, take them to my servant Job, kill them and offer them as a burnt offering for yourselves. My servant Job will pray for you, and I will answer his prayer. Then I will not give you the punishment you deserve. You should be punished because you were very foolish. You did not say what is right about me, as my servant Job did. So Eliphaz from Teman, Bildad from Shuhah, and Zophar from Naham obeyed the Lord. Then the Lord answered Job's prayer. Job prayed for his friends, and the Lord made Job successful again. The Lord gave him twice as much as he had before. Then all his brothers and sisters and all the people who knew him before came to his house. They all ate a big meal with him. They comforted him and were sorry that the Lord had brought him so much trouble. Each person gave Job a piece of silver and a gold ring. The Lord blessed Job with even more than he had in the beginning. Job got 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camel, 2,000 oxen, and 1,000 female donkeys. He also got 7 sons and 3 daughters. He named the first daughter Jemimah, the second daughter Kiazah, and he named the third daughter Keren-Happuch. Job's daughters were among the most beautiful women in all the country, and like their brothers, they each got a share of their father's property. So Job lived for 140 years more. He lived to see his children, his great-grandchildren, his great-great-grandchildren, and his great-great-great-grandchildren. Job lived to be a very old man who had lived a good, long life.